I can be an assertive and strong person even if I'm a woman. I don't have to be a man to be assertive and strong. I'm like shit scared before going on stage, but once I'm there, I'm just the character and not myself. It is an amazing feeling and I want to live that, and I love doing that. So my name is Mel. I use she, they pronouns for myself, and what do I identify as is, I think I'm kind of like a paradoxical person. Like, I am someone who deals with a lot of anxiety, but at the same time, I'm brave enough to walk in a room full of strangers and talk about my life. And I think like it's like these small inconsistencies that we have within ourselves that makes us human. And yeah. Ooh, there's a lot. So sometimes it's like when like my family members or my friends are not back home, I'm just like, are they dead? Where are they? You know, a lot of intrusive thoughts like, it's been a while, are they okay, are they not? And I just assume that someone is in danger. It's like one thing that I straight up jump to, like the worst conclusion possible, and then I have to be like, no, you're being a bit dramatic, calm down. And apart from that, it's just like the fear of not being enough, and of not being enough. And sometimes I think for me, my definition of enough just goes to an extreme to being perfect. So that is, you know, a fear of perfectionism as well, that it might not be worthy of seeing like by anyone. So what's even the point of doing it in the first place? I think it has a lot to do with my art. Like, I know there are things that I really want to do, but then I just get really anxious and overwhelmed by the thought that it would not be good enough. So then I'm like, why even bother? But that's the thing, right? Like if I want to progress, I would have to make that first step. So that is something that I tell myself now, that, you know, like your first book might not be the same as your fifth one, but there will definitely be progress. So just start with whatever you want to do. Okay, so I think, because what you've said, that's really true, and I think that I still have that sort of, you know, a concept that if I'm shooting a video, for instance, I know that, you know, oh, I have to put some sort of makeup on, I have to look a little bit presentable to, you know, shoot this video and everything. But I'm like, but you don't need it. And then for instance, sometimes my head is just like, you can just use a filter, that's also fine. But then I'm like, why is there a need for a filter as well? Like, you are good as you are, you're pretty as you are. It's just like, even like the beauty standards and everything, it's just a trend, right? Like, if we look back, like what was a cinema like? There was like a trend that we have to show like submissive women who like, you know, I'll do anything for my husband and everything. And then now we can see more like stronger roles for women, like, you know, they stand up for themselves, they're independent and everything. So there is a gradual change there. But for me personally, when I see shows like Euphoria, for instance, and I see Zendaya, and I'm like, that is, in a way, it's challenging our perspective of what, you know, like beauty is and everything, because they are showing a very realistic picture of what like addiction looks like, and you can't show addiction looking pretty, because I think that is and that's where a lot of romanticism that, you know, is associated with drugs and everything also comes from, because you make everything just look so cool and pretty, and that's problematic. You should show the real picture as it is. So I think it is very important to be raw in your form. And I know it's very contradictory to what I said about perfectionism, but yeah, that's like still something I'm learning how to navigate, and I'm still understanding a lot more about it. For me, how much I put it into myself, so a lot of it, what I like, you know, make jokes about and everything, obviously they come from a place of like my trauma and like what my life has been like, but they are not always about me. Sometimes it's just a creative. Instead, I was like, intrusive thoughts like, oh, if this would happen and that would happen, that would be a pretty tragic, can be fun, so I just make a video about it or something. And sometimes it's just like for instance, my daddy issues, I'm like, okay, I'll make jokes about it because I can, and it helps me. So a lot of it is kind of true and it comes from me, and a lot of it's like my intrusive thoughts. Yes, yeah, like people really need to like show me more affection and love. Okay, that was a very good question. For me, a lot of my, identity searching and growing and healing as a person happened during this time. Like initially I was like, as an introvert, I was like, oh my God, I don't have to go anywhere. I can just stay at my home. That's like amazing. And then I was like, okay, these people are driving me crazy. So uss time I was just like, coming across a lot of content, and I was like reading up, and that's when I started thinking, because like when you don't have anything to do, you just start thinking, right? And then a lot of things they came to surface, and I was like, okay, let's dig a little deeper about our sexual identity and our gender identity. And then I started reading up and everything, and then I went on that journey where I was like, okay, what was it like for me during my school time, right? Like how did I feel? I was like, school time, I was just like, maybe I am a tomboy, right? And then now that I was reading up about it and I came towards the term non-binary, then I was like, it's an umbrella term, there are more terms there. And I was like, okay, now there's this thing called gender fluid, and I was like, oh, I can relate to this. And then I related to it for some time, and then I was like, I just don't feel it anymore. And then everything came crashing. I thought I was like an imposter, and like, I've been lying to people, or like I'm lying to myself. And then I like talked to someone who really helped me out, who gave me a lot of validation, and were like, everyone's gender identity is different. Like the way you feel your gender is different for like how anyone else will feel it, right? So you are valid, your feelings are valid, and you are what you are. And it was that, it was those words that were like, okay, yes. It made me feel really safe. It gave me a really warm, fuzzy feeling in my heart. And I was like, this is beautiful. I love this person. And they were a stranger to me. Like I just talked to them because I was like, I can reach out to them. And after that, I went on my search again. And then I came across a lot of terms, and I was really confused and really conflicted. And then I was like, okay, a non-binary woman, a demi-girl, or whatever. And then I was just like, you know what? I know what I am. And to just like get rid of all this chaos with the terms, I'll just call myself a queer person and be done with it. And after that, I know I'm kind of derailing from the question here, but I just want to say this. And then for me, like a very important step for my, just my self-expression came from coming out to my mom. And I was like, I want to talk to you about something. She was like, what is it? I'm like, and I'm panicking there. I can't breathe. I'm like, I don't know how to say this. And I'm like, at the verge of tears. And she's like, what is wrong? I was like, I wanted to tell you that I do identify as a woman, but there's a part of me that feels this way, and this is what it is. And she was like, to it's okay, it's very normal to feel that way. I was like, oh my God. And she was just like so supportive and all that. She was like, I understand this feeling, because even I feel that way sometimes, that there are times when you feel very feminine, and then there are times when you feel very masculine, when you have strong opinions about things, and when you feel strong and when you're independent and all that does come to you. So I was like, yeah, that makes sense. And for me during that time, because I was doing my theater, so during theater also we used to have like these debates, and we have to have these interactive sessions every evening, online only, about like society and everything. And that is, one day we were talking about the queer community and everything, and I realized one thing, that for us a lot of these struggles with our identity comes because we have associated certain like personality traits with a gender. But traits don't have gender. We have created gender. Like, I can be an assertive and strong person even if I'm a woman. I don't have to be a man to be assertive and strong. And I can be an empathetic and a nurturing person even if I am a man. Like, that is one thing that we have to like unlearn, that these traits are associated with gender. And after doing that, after coming out to my mom and to my friends, and when they showed me that much support and acceptance, I think after that a lot of changes came. Like, my feelings of dysphoria, I don't know, but like, touch wood, I haven't felt dysphoric in a really long time, and I feel really happy about it now that I see myself and all that, and I have accepted that yes, I am this person. I just feel really strong. Like, yeah, this is who I am, and take me as I am or don't. Like, and that has reflected a lot in my self-expression, like the way I talk to people. So initially I used to like say like, it has always been there with me. Like, I didn't used to say कि मैं ये कर रही हूँ and all that. I was like, मैं कर रहा हूँ ना and all that. So it was always like that. So I was just like, now I say it without thinking about it twice, like who I'm talking to or not, because sometimes it used to shift. Like, when someone, okay, I don't know this person, so I'll just be like, हाँ मैं कर रही हूँ. Like, I don't have to be like that anymore. हाँ करो, क्या हो गया फिर? Like, I'm just that now. And after that, I think I changed the way I dressed up and everything. I like really cut my hair short and everything, and I went for a very androgynous haircut and everything, which whatever made me feel euphoric, I did that. So I think that was a big change that came during those 2 years, after like learning about things and being accepted by my close people. I just had that sense of self-confidence that, you know, I can just do whatever I want and whatever makes me happy. I am just like, sometimes I think my mind works really fast for me to process a lot of things, but I'm just like, no, I don't want this, and I'm just, no, I don't want this. And then I blurt it out and I'm like, oh, what was the process there again? So, but like, yeah, for me, I think after coming to terms with everything and just accepting myself, I have learned, and I'm still learning a lot of things. Like, I am not very vocal about like what I'm going through, especially if I'm going through a tough time. I just won't reach out to people. I'll just isolate myself because I'm like, I don't want to bother anyone. So now I am learning how I can ask for help, how I can reach out, and how I'm supposed to set certain boundaries. And even if that means setting boundaries with my loved ones or my family members. I remember there was this one instance where I cut my hair too short, and my mom was like, तुम्हारे बाल बिल्कुल अच्छे नहीं लग रहे हैं, and it doesn't look good on you and all that, because she's used to seeing a very feminine side of me. She was like, this is that, and she said a lot of things, but my hair was looking bomb. They were like amazing, I know that. I like this beautiful red like wolf cut, and I was like, ma'am, you don't have a fashion sense. Then I was like, what can I expect from a millennial? So I was like, fine. And then I was like, okay, and it stayed with me for a day or two, and then I was like, you know what, I have to tell her that this is a part of my self-expression, and this makes me feel happy, and I feel more confident in my own body, and like, you saying this invalidates how I feel and makes me feel dysphoric. And I did that. I was like, mom, I want to talk to you. And she's like, what? And I was like, this, and what you said made me feel this way, and it is because of my gender identity that I did this, because it makes me feel more powerful. And she was like, okay, I take a note of it, I understand, and I'm sorry that you felt that way. For me, it's just, I think you looked better with, your longer hair and everything, but I understand that you feel more beautiful in this and like more powerful in this. Just like, I just want you to look the best you do, because you're my kid, right? So I always want the best for you. But if this is what it is, then I will not say anything about it anymore. I was like, that's the magic, right? Like, when you verbalize what you're feeling and what is happening, especially to the people who love you, they will understand and they will love you regardless. I think a lot of times, especially with queer folks, like, we forget that our voice is powerful. If you want something, say it outright and you will get it. Maybe someone will not understand that in the moment, but if they truly care about you, they'll take their dime and they will. And if they don't and they continue to disrespect you or invalidate you, you don't need that kind of energy in your life. So I think I've been fortunate, lucky and privileged, I'll use all these three words, enough to like be around people who have accepted me and who have understood my journey, you know, like a lot of time it's just like people will just be like, yeah, but they won't understand. But I have people in my life who genuinely understand that and still love me and like, you know, like respect me, and they don't see me any different. Like when I told my best friend about it, she just started using Mel for me. Like it just switched like that. Like even though she's known me for 5 years and everything, like it didn't change. Like she never once slipped up my dead name. And it just shows how much conscious effort they're putting towards that. And I've been lucky enough to be around those people. I think there was like this one instance where that I remember very clearly, where, you know, I was like, why am I even talking to this person right now? So this was someone who will not be named, but...
You've not named anybody, just said.
Yeah, I know, but you know, like when people act a little, you know, you want to throw shade, but I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm better than that. But yes, so this person, I met this guy and we are not even on talking terms right now. I met this guy and he knows my name and everything, and he like literally, like, you know, they put you in a situation that you don't want to be in, and then you're just like so new to it and you're nervous, you just blurt shit out, and then you're like, why did I do that? So yeah, this person was like, is your name really Mel and everything? I was like, no, it's my name, but I have a dead name and I don't. I was like, but what is it? I'm like, I don't want to tell you. But no, what is it? What is it? And they just like keep pestering you, like, what is it? I'm like, why do you want to know? I'm telling you, this is me. This is who I am right now. What do you want to do with a person who's not even here right now? Right? And then I just gave in. I was like, okay, I'll tell you, this is my name. And this person has not used Mel for me like once after that conversation. They continuously like dead named me, and they were like, I kid you not, because like my profile very clearly has my pronouns there, like she, they. And they were like, when we were talking on IG, they were like, when we met next day, we were driving in his car, and he was like, you know, like initially I didn't see it first, but then I saw it later that your profile says she, they. I was like, yeah. They were like, I thought that you are a trans person. And then they laughed. And I just looked at him like, huh? Because first of all, I didn't take offense in it, because there's nothing offensive or shameful about being trans. I just didn't understand his thought process. Even if I was, what is the problem? Would I not be sitting here right beside you in your car and we wouldn't be having this conversation? If that was the case, I wish I were, you know, because this is just downright humiliating, and I felt really small. And then I just like didn't talk to this person again. And they just like reach out sometimes like, hey, I wanted to talk to you, let's catch up and everything. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't understand. There's nothing offensive or shameful about being one. And like, what do you want to know? Like, why are you so interested in knowing like what's between anyone's pants? Like, it's none of your business. Yeah, okay, so for me, I think this is genetics, or like what I've learned in my environment, because I come from a family of really sarcastic people. Like my dad's side of the family, it's just like everyone's like, inse to seedhe muh baat hi nahi hoti hai. Like you say something, we say something, and they're like, we don't know what that means. What are you getting at? So I think it's that. But yeah, for me, like I've always been a sarcastic person, and it usually comes when I have to like kind of like deal with like some like trauma or like some sort of sad situation, or it comes when I'm dealing with really stupid people. So I'm just like, really, did you? No, that's not it. Like, no, that's not how it happens. Yeah, you're right. I just say that, and they think that is true. Like sometimes I have met people who don't understand my sarcasm, and I have to clearly tell them that, no, I was being sarcastic. They're like, oh, I thought you were being sarcastic. I was like, no, I really was being sarcastic. And there are times when because of my sarcasm, like people who are really close to me know that, you know, she will not say what things are straightforwardly. I have to, when I ask them something, she's laughing, okay? So like when I ask them something or that, they think that I'm being sarcastic, and then they also reply in a very sarcastic tone, ki nahi, nahi, aisa hi hai. I'm like, no, I'm genuinely asking, I don't know what this is, can you just tell me? And they're like, oh, okay, sorry. And then they pointed out, okay, this is the thing and all that. So yeah, I think for me, it's just like, I just like, this is how I live. This is how I live like almost all my life, I think. Oh, okay. It's a very good one because I'm like dealing with it right now. Like I'm working on it right now. So I've like always been a very, you know, cute, such chubby kid. I've always been that. And there were like times when I was like, you know, I had a healthy routine and everything, and I lost a lot of weight, and then I just gained it again. So it's just like, it has always been like I keep on fluctuating in my size. I don't know what it is, but that's just how it is for me. And I've like noticed like when I was like going with a very healthy, balanced lifestyle, I felt very good about myself. It was not like, you know, I want to drop down to certain inches or like I want to get slim or this or that. It was just like, I like doing this and my body feels happy, so I want to do it. Just that. So now I'm adopting that lifestyle again. Like, you know, I'll just like push away my laziness and do this because it makes me feel good. So I try to work out regularly. I try to eat clean and like have a balanced diet and everything. And now I've seen like when I have changed a lot of my like perception about my own body. There were times when, you know, I used to look in the mirror and I was like, I don't like it. And then again, after like split seconds, I would look in the mirror and I'm like, oh girl, your booty looks good. And then I was just like, it just keeps on like changing. So I'm like, what even is it, right? Like I remember in school, there was this whole trend about like getting lips like Kylie Jenner. And there was this whole thing about like having a thigh gap. Why do you need a thigh gap? What are you going to see there? Like, what's the point? Like, it's just so, these trends were like so toxic and so stupid that everyone wanted it, right? And you just realize at one point that a body type is nothing but a trend. It doesn't matter. Maybe years down the line, then, you know, getting skinny becomes a new trend, or like then again, being curvy becomes a new trend and everything. You will never be satisfied with how you look because you're always trying to see yourself in that trend. And that is something I had to learn and be like, you know what? Not for this, not for that, just for yourself. Do what feels good to you and what makes you happy. So I started doing that. And like, even around like masturbation and everything, I was like, a very shy kid. I was like, I don't even want to look at my, you know, hoo-ha and everything. And then I was just like, but you should know what your body looks like. What if like something goes wrong and you don't know like, oh, is it like a normal part of my body or is it like a bump or something that I should be scared of and I should, you know, get it checked and everything. So you should. And then I started like seeing myself and I was like, okay, this is okay. There's nothing to be ashamed of. This is you and it's beautiful. So I think you have to remind yourself constantly that, you know, your body is not part of a trend. It's your body. You do what feels right to it and what makes you feel good, and look at yourself, appreciate yourself. Because I can tell you right now, like if one of my girlfriends or like my friends were like coming up to me and were like, you know, we don't feel good about ourselves. I feel like my body's not good at all. You'd point like 10 things that are amazing about your body, but you won't do that for yourself. Why? The love you're giving to others is also something you're supposed to give to yourself. So just look at yourself and just compliment yourself like, yeah, I look good. That's it. Yeah. Okay, so okay. So about like the imposter syndrome, right? So when I like was going through it in a very with like full force of intensity was when I was figuring out my gender identity, and there was someone from my school who was like my senior, and they were this like very woke, intellectual, queer person who were like, not cisgender themselves, and used to talk about different queer identities and how you should validate yourself and love yourself and everything. And I reached out to them because I was very confused about my own identity, and I was like, okay, this is someone I can reach out to because they talk so much about it, right? And they're so openly communicating about things that need attention to. So I was like, see, hi, I just wanted to talk to you about something if you're free. And they were like, yeah, what's up? And I was like, actually, I'm like struggling with my gender identity right now. Obviously, I didn't go up to them and I was like, they'll tell me what my identity is. Like, I was like, so this is, I want to talk about it. They're like, yeah, what about your gender identity? I was like, see, I thought that I was like gender fluid and everything, but now that I read up more about it and I have tried experimenting with different pronouns, and initially I felt good that people were using he, him pronouns for me because I was like, yeah, I just talked about it and people started doing it, yes. And then I was like, but I don't like it. I don't like the idea of he, him pronouns for myself, so I just don't want it anymore. And I just realized that there are parts of me that feel like a woman. Like when I talk, I just use like us women, okay? I use that, and like when I'm talking about like feminism, I was like, for like women like us and everything, I say that, I use terms like that, I use those sentences, and I feel very comfortable when I'm using it. It's never like, oh, did I just say women like us and I'm one of them? It was never like that. So I don't know, like I feel this way, but there is also a part of me which feels very fluid in a way. So I don't know what is it. And they were just like, oh, that just means you are not a queer person. Like you are not gender fluid. That's what it means. I was like, I don't think so. And I just did not know how to respond to that. So I was just like, thanks for your time. And then I cried myself to sleep about it. Then I just reached out to my best friend. Like, I was panicking. I was just like, I was like, dude, do you know anyone who's gender fluid and can like talk to me? She was like, yeah, I do know someone. I was like, I need to talk to them right now. Can you like just share their number, tell them that your friend is contacting them and everything? And she was like, yeah, I'll do that. And then I text this person. I was like, hi, this is something that I'm going to. And they were so welcoming. They were so warm, so comforting. Like, even though it was like a text conversation we had, I just felt like they were right there with me, and I could feel that presence, like, like someone is giving you a warm hug. And we were talking about it, and they validated me so much when I told them that, see, this is what I'm feeling. And they were like, it's completely okay to feel that way. And then my imposter syndrome was like, oh, okay. Because I was being a dramatic a minute before, like, oh my God, who am I then? I was just lying to myself and other people. My God, what? And then I just felt like a fraud. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? Am I that bad of a person? Am I really taking up an identity like from a community that like, already is going through so much? What am I doing and everything? And then they're like, calm down. It's like, okay. They were like, it's valid. How you like experience your gender is like very subjective and it's on you. Not everyone will feel the same way. So it's okay, chill, relax. And they were very reassuring and very validating. And then I told them that this is something that a person said to me, who I thought was my friend. And they were like, if that's the case, then I don't even know what to say, because they are not cisgender themselves and this is what they're saying. That just means that they're a bad person. So just don't listen to them. And I was like, you know what? I'll talk to this person from now on if I feel dysphoria, not that person. That was it. And I think after that, it was just finding people who, validate you and make you feel that you're enough. So for me, I just love that I'm an overthinker because I do half of the job for myself. But I think I trust my best friend a lot with it, because she is someone who has critiqued me a lot, and like when she noticed certain things, she was the one like, hey, I want to talk to you about this thing that I've observed, and I'm not saying that this is how it is, but it seems, like it perceives that way, so let's talk about it. I was like, yeah, sure. And she told me certain things that, I think this is the case, like I am pretty sure you don't want to come off like that way, but it seems like that. And I was like, oh, okay, I understand how it can be perceived that way, but this was not my intention. But I'll keep this in mind from now on. So I think if you are honest with someone and you can communicate the perspective very clearly, you will accept it. Like, I will accept it. Like, for me, half of the time, like, when my mom says something to me, sometimes I believe it, sometimes I don't, because I'm like, girl, you were in office, you didn't even see me, so why would I believe that? I know what I was doing. Like, if you're watching me continuously and you said something that I didn't do this, I didn't do that, I'd believe you. But like, you're not there, so how do we match up there? I was like, see, this is the thing that I get where you're coming from, but I didn't have that intention, but I'll keep this in mind. I think that's because I think a lot of times, like, your intentions really matter, and if you are doing something out of spite, something to hurt someone, if you are an introspective person, you will understand that. And once you realize that, something that you did was hurtful or something, you have to take the accountability and apologize to the other person. I think that is one place where we all kind of like mess up sometimes, that it's like we might apologize, but we won't take the right actions to like correct our the problem, or like what has caused like some sort of hurt to someone else. So I think that step is very important, of like making like conscious decision to make a change and like do better. For me, I think now what I've started to do is like I've started journaling. So now instead of calling someone like, like you're such a bitch or something, I just journal about it. Ki this person acted very bitchy, but I think that they might be having a bad day or something. Maybe it wasn't their, like how they wanted to like talk to me. They just had a bad day maybe. So I think that has helped. And I think there's like one technique that I came across from like a therapist online, I'm forgetting their name, but it was like, if you want to understand another person's perspective, like for instance, take any situation, you should write 2 letters. First is like from your POV, like this happened, that happened, and that's how it made me feel. And then one from that other person's perspective, like what did they perceive, what did they think? And I think you'd be able to understand the situation a lot more better. I want to be a rich aunt who has a glass of wine in every social event. That's who I want to be. But to be that, I have to do a lot of things. So for me, I want to write. I really want to write, and I like performing. So I want to do both of those things. Like, I can see myself writing like books, like writing screenplays, writing something, and I can also see myself performing, because I am a theatre kid. You can tell by the amount of drama. I just am that person. I love performing. I did an open mic stand-up for my friend's event, and then I started doing plays and everything, and that's just one thing I really love doing. Like, even though I'm a very anxious person, and like I'm like shit scared before going on stage, but once I'm there, I'm just the character and not myself. It is an amazing feeling, and I want to live that, and I love doing that. So I can see myself doing a lot of writing and performing, hopefully. And apart from that, I think if I have something to add, like a general like message, it would be like, it is very important to like sit with yourself and think about things, about what makes you happy, what you want to do in life, and finding like, a right social support that helps you like achieve your dreams. That's that. And it's very important to be happy. That's it. And like, it's not something that you will get when you think that, oh, once I do this, I'll be happy. No, you can be happy during the journey as well. And it is something that you have to create yourself. That's it.
Like what you saw? Support us so we can create more empowering content for you. Like and share this video and subscribe to our YouTube channel.